An ESPN analyst just gave us some great news on Brandon Aiyuk heading into week 3 against the LA Rams. A game that feels somehow weirdly more important than the rest so far because of the pressure that it's putting on Brandon Aiyuk, on Brock Purdy. My goodness, hopefully he's healthy, knock on wood, George Kittle. Later in the show, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why Brandon Aiyuk is about to go off this weekend. But first, I want to tell you about what this ESPN analyst had to say. If you're new here, I'm Nate. I love talking the 49ers. Please consider a like and sub. It really does help me out. ESPN analyst Tristan Cockcroft expects Brandon Aiyuk to go off this weekend. Like, expect some numbers from BA. I'm going to tell you what he said in 10 seconds, plus 3 reasons why BA is about to have a game. But first, comment below what production you think BA is going to have this weekend. I say my number is a whopping 125 yards and a tutty. I know that might be a little bit aggressive, but I'm telling you, this game is made for Brandon Aiyuk, and I'm going to tell you why, starting with this ESPN take and then 3 reasons after. So if we look at the ESPN take, sorry if the text is a little small on the screen, I'll read it to you. Aiyuk stands out as the probable centerpiece for this matchup for Kyle Shanahan. The Rams have struggled mightily to contain opponents' passing games through 2 weeks, surrendering 2.4 PPR yards per target to both wide receivers and tight ends. Sorry, fantasy football is a real thing. But yeah, including George Kittle there. Don't think about that. As well as league worst with 7 catches of 20-plus yards and 7.3 yards after the catch per reception to wide receivers specifically. Considering Aiyuk has had 29% of his catches go for 20-plus yards since the beginning of 2022, he's primed to capitalize. Let's go. Love the take from Tristan today, ESPN. Thank you so much for the take. My goodness, we got a lot to break down on this, all right? Firstly, this is a good situation for Brandon Aiyuk in terms of the defense he's going up against. This is obviously a good situation for Brandon Aiyuk to prove his worth because of Deebo being out, Christian McCaffrey. So reason number 1, BA is about to go off, is an increased workload. Where else is all of that energy supposed to go? Now, you could say BA is going to be the decoy. I don't think they're going to double team him, but if they do choose to double team Brandon Aiyuk, then he is the decoy, and he's not going to get 125 yards, and he's not going to get a tutty. Most likely, it's probably going to be guys like Chris Conley, guys like maybe even Ronnie Bell, but most importantly, if George Kittle's healthy, George Kittle and Juwan Jennings are going to be the guys that are going to be getting a lot of those targets. That's my guess. That's how I'm seeing it play out. But I'm hoping, my gut is they're not going to double team against the Kyle Shanahan offense because of for a lot of reasons. But from a scheme point of view, I don't think they're going to take that risk. I think they're going to be thinking a lot more about the run game and shutting down Mason and making Brock Purdy try and beat in the air and try and beat in the air at distance if possible, which gives them advantage in time because Brock Purdy's not the fastest thrower in the world. All that being said, I think that's a losing strategy, but I think that's what they're going to do personally. And that increased workload because of the situation, you've got a guy now who's the $30 million man, okay? That puts a lot of pressure on Brennan to go out there and prove his worth. I'm sure he feels that pressure. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe once you get the paycheck, you're like, all right, I'm good. Maybe some players are like that. Once they get that paid, they get that money, they never look the same. I don't think that's going to be Brandon Aiyuk. I think he's going to go out there. He's going to want to prove that he's still valuable. He's going to want to prove that he's worth it. He's going to want to live up to that paycheck. I think Kyle Shanahan also is going to feel that a little bit of pressure to make him live up to it. And this is definitely an opportunity to do that. So we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if in the first drive you see the 49ers do a couple things like, don't forget we have Juwan Jennings. If he's the first guy that gets thrown to, I would not be surprised. You're going to see a couple run plays because they, for whatever reason, 3 and out on 3 throwing plays, 3 passing plays in the loss against the Vikings. They're not doing that again. I don't think so. I'd be very surprised if they did it again. I think they're going to want to get the run game going. I think they're going to want to get Juwan Jennings or someone other than Brandon Aiyuk interested because then defense is, oh yeah, these guys exist, and they're also power. Juwan Jennings is powerful, and he catches the ball, and he has great separation. So far this season, he's had great separation. So yeah, number one, increased workload. Number two, 2023 efficiency. Let's not forget who Brandon Aiyuk was. Okay, this is the Brandon Aiyuk we're talking about all offseason, about whether or not he's valuable to the 49ers. Is he worth $30 million a year, which is what he's probably asking. Turns out not too far off there. So he had 105 targets that he turned into 75 receptions, 1,300 yards, 17.9 average yards. That is pretty impressive. I think this is a good sign, a good reminder of what the same quarterback, the same coach, and the same wide receiver can do together. I think these three guys, this little triad here of Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, and Brandon Aiyuk, they have the rhythm, okay? No, the first two games don't look like they've got much of a rhythm, but I don't feel like it's the type of thing that can't just switch on. We heard a lot of guys talking before week one. Can Brandon Aiyuk go out there and do a good job? Yeah, Brock Purdy's thrown to him a million times. He's going to get a little extra practice with him, which he did, and it's going to be fine. So I'd like to believe, now that you've got Deebo out, who is Brock Purdy's number one target, number one comfort all through training camp, and George Kittle might be out, I have to imagine that the most comfortable guy out there in terms of rhythm with Brock Purdy is going to be Brandon Aiyuk. That's just my guess, okay? I think I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'd love to see this kind of efficiency again, but maybe even just go off and have at it, okay? But one more thing. Brandon Aiyuk's head seems to be in the right place. I know I said a couple days ago I wasn't so sure, but then here's what he said in his interview yesterday that sounds like his head's in the right place. Thanks, David Bonilla, for the article. Okay, I'm just looking to take another step. We've got another day in practice today. That was yesterday. So looking to get better again today, tomorrow, and Friday, and then just let it go on Sunday and see what happens. So he's keeping it simple in his mindset. And then later on, talking about playing in Los Angeles, said it's going to be great. We love going to play down there, seeing all the red down there, a little home dome stadium. That tells me he's still connected to the fan base. He's still excited about playing for this football team and going out there and getting it done. I think those, just a couple quotes. There's another one in there. You want to read it, you can pause the screen and go check it out. It seems to me like his head's in the right place. He's thinking about it the right way. I'm hoping he's out there, his mentality's in the right place, and he's ready to get after it because Brandon Aiyuk, we would love to have a very big game out of you. Obviously, number one, W. If we get a W, I'm not going to argue too much about how it happens. I'm just going to be happy that we won. But secondly, we need to see Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk. They both feel like they have a lot to prove this weekend. A lot of people think they have a lot to prove this weekend. Let's see it happen. That would be fantastic if they went out there and proved it. My goodness. Faithful, this is going to be a super fun game to watch. I think the 49ers are going to be very, very competitive in this game. And I'm not going to make any predictions because I feel superstitious about it for some reason. But I'm feeling optimistic about a win for sure. What a time to be alive.